Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the H&H Sports Podcast. I'm Tanner Hicks, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Jackson Huey. We are back for another live broadcast of the podcast. Loving doing these lives, like we've said. They're super fun. Love, seeing live reactions of you guys watching. Um, this week, as you could tell by the title, um, we are predicting this next week's college football playoff rankings, first of this season. Usually the college football rankings, pretty much always the first ones and always the last ones are the most controversial, because just to see who the committee respects coming out the gate and who the committee respects at the end of the season. Um, these are our opinions as far as who we believe. It's kind of in the middle of who we think, where we think the committee will put these teams and where we think these teams should be. It's kind of a balance between those two. But it's mainly who we think the committee will put where these teams are. It's mainly just for fun. Our predictions have sucked all year anyways, so just might as well another fun prediction video. It's been a minute since the season started. But yeah, what we're gonna do is we're not gonna recap any games this week. We're gonna start with pick'ems in both college and NFL, and for the rest of the episode, we're gonna predict the playoff rankings. So, and I guess we can recap games as we pick, those teams' games or whatever.
Yeah, we usually tend to do that anyways.
Yes, but what games do we want to pick? There's decent amount of games. I guess we could pick the NC State Virginia Tech game, since it does involve a ranked team. NC State has lost Devin Leary for the rest of the season. It's a big blow to a team who was looking to make some noise in the ACC and potentially all of college football playoff this season. But not having Devin Leary, their best player, obviously is going to handicap them from doing so. NC State is favored by 14 points in this game. Virginia Tech is very, very bad. I think Virginia or NC State's going to win this game, but it could come down to like NC State not covering just because they don't have a very experienced quarterback. I'm not sure who it is, but he didn't look very good. So I will take NC State in this game.
Yeah, I think NC State wins this game even without Devin Leary. Yeah, that's not going to hurt them much in this game, I don't think, because Virginia Tech's not very good.
Utah, Washington State. Now this is an interesting game. This is on Thursday.
This is an interesting game.
This is in Pullman too. Washington State.
This might be more watchable than Bucks Ravens.
Tom Brady has been abysmal this season, which we haven't said in my lifetime. But
I don't think it's much less him. I think it's just the rest of the offense. I mean,
yeah, Todd Bowles is not a good head coach. He's not. He's a way better defensive coordinator. But that's not every issue with the Bucks. But Utah, Washington State. This is in Pullman. Washington State is not amazing, but they've been a very respectable team in the Pac-12. Cameron Ward, their new transfer quarterback, has been pretty good. But this team has been a very respectable team, while Utah has been really, really good. They're coming off a win against Utah was off last week, I'm pretty sure, and they're coming off a win against USC by 1 point. I think this is on the road. Utah is a very good team. I'm gonna take Utah, but it could be way closer than people might expect it to be. The line is only 7 points for Utah. I think it would probably stay around that. I think Washington State's going to keep it close with Utah, but I do think ultimately Utah will win this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Utah too. I just think they're a better team overall. Yeah, Washington State definitely can make it close, though, especially being home. I think it's gonna be closer than people think, but I think not Washington State, Utah pulls it out.
Yeah, Wazoo has a very good environment at home, but Utah is better. So we'll go ride with Utah on that. Ohio State, Penn State. Penn State hasn't beat Ohio State since 2016, and that game essentially put Penn State back on the map. as a respectable college football team. I'm gonna go with Ohio
This will
State.
be yeah. I'm gonna go with Ohio State, but I think Penn State can keep it closer than the spread predicts.
I'm not expecting. This is not a knock against Penn State at all. I'm not expecting this to be particularly close, simply because
Really?
Ohio State murdered Iowa last week, and Iowa, albeit they have a horrific offense, has a really good defense. They're top 15, 20 in every category. You could probably attribute that to being in the Big Ten, but Iowa has a great defense, and Ohio State hung 52 on them. Penn State also has a good defense, and Ohio State has just been railing teams since they struggled against Notre Dame week 1.
Yeah, I think I like Ohio State to win, but something just tells me Penn State covers 15.5.
They could, but I don't.
But with it being at Penn State,
This will be a
I
whiteout
don't
game.
hate
This
that.
will be a whiteout game. Penn State has a very, very good record at whiteout games. I think the last time they lost a whiteout game was against Ohio State. It's just Ohio State's really, really good, man. Ohio State is unmessable right now. Penn State just got their socks knocked off against Michigan the last time they played. They kept it close in the first half, but Michigan ran away with it. The last time they played a team this caliber, and it made me lose confidence in that defense a little bit. I am going to go with Ohio State pretty confidently. Penn State's not a bad football team, but Ohio State is way, 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 way better. Ohio State is that good.
Yeah, I'm going with Ohio State.
It's TCU West Virginia. This is an interesting game. TCU's only favored by 8 in this game, 7.5, but 8. TCU wasn't favored big against whoever they played last week. I do forget. Let me check. They weren't favored super big. Oh, it was against Kansas State. That does make more sense. TCU did pull that one out. West Virginia is always like a decent team in the Big 12. They're never going to be just the worst team, but they're never going to be the best team either. They're always kind of respected in the Big 12 to a degree. But I'm still going to go with TCU, man. TCU hasn't given me any reason to not believe in them so far this season. I don't know how they're doing this well. Sonny Dykes, I guess, is just this offensive guru with Lincoln Riley's brother at OC. But yeah, I'm still going to go with TCU. They're on the road in West Virginia. That could be a reason why they're not favored as high as I think they should be. But the last time they won on the road, I think they were at home last week. I want to fact check that.
They were.
The last time they were on the road,
It was at Oklahoma. No, it was at Kansas.
it was at Kansas, and they pulled that game out. Their defense.
Yeah, I'm gonna take TCU. TCU is a good football team.
Okay. I have a question. I'll save this. I'll save this for the top 25.
Okay.
But yeah, I think TCU will win this game. I don't want to say handedly because I don't really know what West Virginia is about, but Syracuse Notre Dame. This is an interesting game. Syracuse is favored by 2.5 points in this game, and this is in Syracuse, the newly renovated Carrier Dome. Syracuse. You could say Syracuse should have won last week against Clemson, but Cade Klubnik came in and saved the day. Syracuse, if they had you could say if for everything, but if their offense stepped up when they needed to, Syracuse is probably undefeated and ranked in the top 10 right now. Their defense is one of the best in the country, definitely the best in their conference, and Notre Dame has struggled to put points up on the board this season. So I will go with Syracuse. They haven't lost a ton of momentum. They didn't get their breaks blown out last week against Clemson. I'm gonna go with Syracuse. It'll probably be close, but Notre Dame struggles to put points up on the board. and Syracuse is a really, really, really good defensive team. So I'm gonna go with Syracuse in this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Syracuse. But if it was in South Bend, it'd be different,
Mm-hmm.
probably. I mean, I might would still go Syracuse, but I would maybe go Notre Dame. But I'm going Syracuse. Yeah, I just think Syracuse is better.
Georgia, Florida, in Jacksonville.
You riding the Florida train? Here we
I'm
go.
not. I'm not. I'm not. No, dude. Florida's gonna go down to 500. It's disappointing. I thought Florida was gonna be way better than they
Yeah.
have been.
Georgia's gonna kill Florida this weekend.
It may not. It may not be that way. Georgia hasn't played a respectable team in a minute. They haven't. They haven't played. Like the last ranked team they played was against South Carolina.
This is the rivalry game.
This is a rivalry game. This is the
in Jacksonville. So this could
Georgia hasn't played a team this good since they played South Carolina in week 3. Although they did beat them by 40.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me.
Josh says don't spill your water.
All-time H&H worst take.
Josh says don't spill your water.
Don't spill my water.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, Georgia hasn't played a team.
He made a nice little video about that last week, by the way. I don't know if I sent it to you or not.
No. That was pretty funny.
He videoed it and put the song Drip Too Hard on it.
That was pretty funny. This is why we do live broadcasts, so you guys can see that type of stuff. Yeah, they haven't played a team this good since they played South Carolina. And Georgia may go into this game. I'm not going to say they will, but they could go into this game not respecting Georgia enough or Florida enough and get surprised a little bit. But I'm still confident in Georgia winning. But it may not be an absolute blowout, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I could be wrong. But Georgia's looked pretty darn solid over the past couple of weeks.
Because they've played Vanderbilt, Missouri, and Auburn, all 3 back-to-back.
That is a fair point. But no, they didn't look solid against Missouri.
They kind of struggled a little bit. Weren't they tied at halftime or something?
They were down for a while.
Yeah, they ultimately pulled away.
If Missouri had a semi-decent offense, they'd have won that game easily.
Yeah. Georgia's offense has struggled against like okay teams. Like they get on track against Auburn and Vanderbilt, but against decent teams they've struggled ever since week 3.
Yeah, but I think the Vanderbilt hype is dead. It's been dead, but
if there was any hype, we were the only 2 that had any type of hype for Vanderbilt outside of Vanderbilt fans. Yeah, I'm still gonna take Georgia.
I've never met a Vanderbilt fan in my life.
They all go to the school, and there's no Vanderbilt fans outside of that school. Yeah, I'm still gonna take Georgia. Georgia's gonna win this game pretty confidently, but LSU did smoke Florida. Florida won't have anything for Georgia. I mean, that there is a world possibility where Georgia does kill Florida, but again, like we said, Georgia hasn't played anybody respectable since South Carolina. Although they did kill South Carolina, they haven't really had a test yet. And when they played those bad teams, they struggled. Like their offense could barely put points up on the board. They ultimately found it and won those games. But Florida does have an SEC level defense. South Carolina, you could say, also had an SEC level defense and they put up 48, but Florida's defense is better. They did get killed by LSU, but Florida is better. Florida is not a terrible team. They're a 4-3 team in the SEC. It's respectable. Florida is not just going to lay down. They're going to put up a fight. This is a rivalry game. And although Georgia may win by a couple scores, it's not going to be this absolute blowout is what I'm trying to say. I still think Georgia will win, but it's not going to be just this all Florida, all Georgia, no Florida type of game. It could be a close game. It could be a blowout, but I think it won't be a blowout. But I think it'll be kind of in the middle, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I'm going Georgia. I don't know if I said that or not, but I'm going Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia will still win. Oregon, California. Oregon has looked stellar. They beat
since losing to Georgia.
Yeah, they've been. Bo Nix can arguably be in your Heisman conversation. Bo Nix has been amazing. He's been efficient. He's been good on the ground. Bo Nix has been really, really, really good. So has Oregon. Oregon's defense has been great. Oregon's offense has been like through the roof good. California did give Colorado their first win of the season, so I'm going Oregon, and I'm going them to cover.
I'm gonna go Oregon too.
The line is 17.
I don't think it's close.
Yeah, they're going to cover. Yeah, Bo Nix has played pretty great. This game is pretty interesting. I saw this. Oklahoma State on the road against Kansas State. Kansas State is favored in this game.
Yeah.
By 1.5 points. What I said last week applies this week about Kansas State. I don't know if they have the offensive production to keep up with Oklahoma State.
I don't think so. I'm going to Oklahoma State.
Kansas State's defense is good. And Oklahoma State is 4 points away from still being undefeated. They have the offense to keep up with anybody in the nation. They just don't have that defense yet. And Kansas State is not, this track meet type of an offense that TCU is. So I think Oklahoma State will win this game on the road. It won't be easy, but Kansas State just doesn't have that type of offense to keep up with Oklahoma State. It applied last week with TCU. So I'm gonna go with Oklahoma State in this game. Obviously,
I like Oklahoma State.
Wake Forest ranked in the top 10 facing Louisville. Louisville has a winning record somehow. This is in Louisville. Wake Forest is only favored by 3.5. This could be a trap game, but I haven't really seen Louisville play. So
yeah, I haven't much either.
I'm gonna go with Wake Forest because Wake Forest has.
Is Louisville's quarterback is still Cunningham, right?
Yeah, Malik Cunningham.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
go Wake Forest.
Yeah, Wake Forest. We've agreed on everything. I'm gonna go with Wake Forest, but Louisville looks respectable. This could be a trap game for Wake Forest. But I'm not really too sure. I'm not gonna hard sell on that. So I'm still gonna go with Wake Forest. Illinois, Nebraska. Now Nebraska. Did you see what their coach did?
Yes, I did. That's hilarious,
bro. Like, come on, bro. That's funny. That's funny. He's not helping his case to be hired back next season.
No, he is not.
Yeah, but Illinois, Nebraska. This is in Lincoln.
It don't matter.
Illinois. Is like their team is literally the epitome of what the Big Ten is. Just run the ball and play defense. I'm gonna go with Illinois. I think Nebraska covers. I think this could be a close game. The line is 7.5 for Illinois. I think Nebraska could cover and make this a close game, but I'm still gonna go with Illinois. Now this might I wanna catch this game. Cincinnati UCF. This is in Orlando. UCF could win this game. I think UCF is the best team in the American right now.
Yeah.
You obviously could make the case for the highest.
Yeah, you said we've agreed on all of them. I thought this was going to be the one we disagree on, but it may not be. I'm going UCF.
Yeah, UCF is they were off last week, I'm pretty sure. UCF is the best team in the American so far. John Reese Plumlee has been outstanding.
Yeah. I'm definitely not looking forward to them coming down next week, so.
Yeah. Golly. I don't even want to think about Memphis right now. But yeah, I think UCF, they're favored by 1.5. UCF is extremely good. Gus Malzahn has found it with his team. I'm gonna go with
Yeah.
UCF. Cincinnati could win definitely, but I think UCF is better. I think they're the best team in the conference, so I'm gonna go with
Darren, I
them.
thought we was going to disagree on that one.
Missouri, South Carolina. South Carolina is ranked for the first time this season. They're favored by 4 at home. Missouri has kept it close with some teams.
Hey, I do remember your Florida hype died, but I do remember there were some people that laughed at us for saying South Carolina could win 8 games.
They've Spencer Radler has found it. He's been extremely accurate. He can't find the end zone, but he's been extremely accurate, and their defense has helped them win them some games. You could attribute some of their success to Will Levis being hurt, but they beat. Yeah, they're coming off a win against A&M. A&M is like in shambles right now. Absolutely disgusting.
They suspended 3 players.
Was it smoking pot in the bathroom?
In the locker room, I heard.
That's funny. Like
how can you be that? How can you be that dumb?
I know that. Yeah, the Texas A&M program is in shambles right now.
They're talking about firing Jimbo. Like, you know how much that would.
I would give him at least another year. If he has another year like this next year, I would consider it.
If they was talking about if I was Jimbo and they was talking about firing me and I knew what I had on my buyout, I'd give him the depth chart and say y'all fill it out.
Bro, Jimbo is getting paid like so much money. They like
Nick Saban money. Jimbo's getting Nick Saban money to be 3-4 right now.
Bro, Jimbo is not looking great. Yeah, they do. If he has, I think they could consider firing if he has another season like this next year. But I think he's too good of a recruiter for them to let him go. But obviously it doesn't translate on the field, and it's hard for that to translate in the SEC with a young team. But back to South Carolina, Missouri. I think South Carolina can win. I do think it could probably be close. If South Carolina can put up some points. But Spencer Rattler has been good. He's been, like I said, he's been efficient. He just can't find the end zone. So I'm gonna go with South Carolina. But it could be a close game.
Why can't we find a game to disagree on? I'm going South Carolina.
It could be this game. Tennessee's first test since beating Alabama. They're at home again, but they're playing Kentucky. A healthy Kentucky. Tennessee is ranked 3rd. They put up 80 points against UT Martin last week. Probably not 80. But it
wasn't 80. It was like 60. It was 65, I think.
Yeah, they put up a lot of points. Their offense obviously hasn't slowed down. But they're playing Kentucky.
It's crazy to me to think this offense is this good and their best receiver isn't even playing.
Yeah, what's his face?
Arguably the best receiver, Cedric Tillman, arguably the best receiver in the SEC isn't playing.
Yeah, he's next man up mentality. Jalen Hyatt has shown that. Like it's a very by committee offense. Sorry,
I saw a funny joke about that earlier, but I ain't gonna talk about it on the podcast because
it's. Yeah, that the Josh Heupel's offense is very much by committee. Not focused on particularly one player. That I could Tennessee's favored by 12.5. I feel the same way about this game that I do the Oklahoma State Kansas State game. I don't think Kentucky has enough offensive production to keep up with Tennessee, especially at home. Tennessee put up 52 on Alabama. Kentucky grinds out games, and this is a game they can't grind out. Tennessee beat Kentucky last year too. I'm gonna go with Tennessee. It could be a blowout.
Yeah. Neyland Stadium is going to win this game easily. That crowd's going to be rocking again. Yeah, Tennessee wins, and they might even cover 12.5.
Yeah, Tennessee's going to kill them. USC, Arizona. USC is coming off a loss. I don't know if they played last week, but They're coming off a loss. They're still ranked in the top 10. I don't even think they're the best team in the conference anymore because Oregon has looked great. I still think UCLA is better than USC at the moment. That game at the end of the year is going to be great between those two. You could make a case for Utah since they did beat them, but I'm gonna take them to beat Arizona here. Arizona isn't like
Yeah.
the worst team in the nation like they have been the past couple years. But still, I'm gonna take USC. Caleb Williams is still doing great. The Arizona's quarterback though hasn't been any slouch either. He's been pretty good, but USC's offense collectively is way better than Arizona, and I do think Arizona could see a world where Arizona could find something and keep it close. Since USC has been a little unreliable lately, but I'm still gonna go with USC.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with USC. Yeah, I mean,
Michigan State. Michigan State, obviously, they won this game last year in a crazy, crazy game. But Michigan State isn't 7-0 at this point in the year like they were last year.
They don't win this game this year.
They
also don't have Kenneth Walker toting the rock either.
I feel like I've said this about a lot of games this week, but since this is a rivalry game, I do think Michigan State could keep this close. Michigan murdered number 10 at the time, Penn State.
I would feel more confident about them keeping it close if it was at Michigan State.
Yeah, yes. But I don't know, man. Anything can happen, especially
at the big house.
Especially in the Big
Ten. Especially in this game, anything can happen.
Yeah, like we've seen it before. Like crazy things happen in this game. But Michigan State is not great this season. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they kept it close.
Their coach got a bag too.
Who, Mel Tucker? Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan State kept this close, but I also would be surprised if Michigan killed them because Michigan has been really, really, really good. So I'm going to go with Michigan. Michigan State could cover the 23 points. I'm still going to go Michigan regardless of however they win, but I do think Michigan State could probably keep it close. I am saying that about a lot of games. Ole Miss dropped a ton. They dropped a ton.
Yeah, they dropped way down.
They dropped 8 spots after.
Respectfully, they was up 20-17 at halftime and didn't score again. So
yeah, they got shut out in the second half. I thought this would be close. A close game. I did like. But
the LSU game.
Yeah, the Ole Miss LSU game. I thought that would be a close game.
Ever since Tennessee beat LSU, LSU just found offense somewhere. Yeah, they went somewhere and found some offense.
They woke up somehow. Brian Kelly's back to being a good coach. I thought it would take at least a year for LSU to find their way, but they've,
they're sitting at 5-2,
ranked 18th. LSU's looking pretty decent. They're exceeding expectations. I thought they would probably cap at 5 wins this season, but they're looking pretty good this year. They're at College Station this weekend against A&M. Now, A&M is pretty bad. A&M is not very good. Ole Miss, I think, is significantly better than A&M, but this is also at A&M. And A&M's defense isn't terrible. So, again, I'm going to say the same thing about this. I think this could be a close game, but I'm still going to go Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss, I'm surprised that they got beat by 25 last game. That is kind of a area for concern for them because their defense, has been pretty bad lately. Their offense is the reason they're winning any games. But I'm still going to go with Ole Miss.
Yeah, I can't pick Texas A&M in this situation. I just can't. I mean, I don't trust them. So Ole Miss. This is a lame week. This is a lame week for Pick'ems.
Pittsburgh, UNC. Now, UNC has been great. Their only loss was to Notre Dame. They have the best offense in the ACC, I'm pretty sure. They also have the worst defense in the ACC. Pittsburgh has been pretty decent. I don't know if Keaton Slovis is back playing. They're coming off a loss. Is Keaton Slovis active? He is. He hasn't been great this season. He's been pretty but their running back has been really good. And UNC has been questionable defensively. I'm gonna go with Pittsburgh in this game. I'm gonna pick Pittsburgh on
here's the one. I'm gonna go North Carolina.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Pittsburgh in this game. Pittsburgh upsets on the road. Pittsburgh has been kind of blah this season, but I think since UNC does have the worst defense in the ACC, Pittsburgh does have the capability to keep up with UNC. UNC's offense is great under Drake May at quarterback. But I think Pittsburgh hasn't shown that they are this, great team. But they have the capability to keep up with North Carolina. So I'm going to go with Pittsburgh on the road. UCLA, Stanford, we don't have to spend too much time on this. I think UCLA could arguably be the best team in the Pac-12. Yeah. So I'm going to go with UCLA at home.
Yeah, I'm going UCLA.
NFL Pick'ems. Right before we started this a couple hours ago, Robert Quinn was traded to the Eagles, as if the Eagles needed any more pass rush.
Correct.
The Eagles are looking really, really good. The teams on bye are the Chargers and the Chiefs this week. The Thursday game tomorrow is between the Ravens and the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have a losing record after losing to the McCaffrey list, Baker list, Matt Rule list, Robbie Anderson list, Carolina Panthers. They're just. It was bad loss. The Ravens are coming off a win, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they beat the Browns.
Now, Mark Andrews' status was up in the air on this game. Is there any word if he's playing or not?
I don't know. Andrews is questionable still. He was questionable last week as well, but he was
played.
Yeah, he was
didn't have a catch.
He was a game time decision. This is in Tampa. Tampa's favored by 1. I'm going to go with the Ravens in this game simply because the Ravens, although they are very unreliable, are more reliable in this game. I don't trust the Bucs at all. It's weird saying that with Tom Brady under center, but Todd Bowles has shown that he's still not a great head coach. Tom Brady has struggled. I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna go with the Ravens in this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Ravens too. Sorry, I'm yawning. Yeah, I'm going Ravens.
Finally, a decent Thursday night game. It could be bad, but it's still pretty decent. What games do we want to pick here? This is a pretty week, to be honest. We'll go Dolphins.
Hold on, time out. We can talk about it later, but I just looked at the schedule. I just realized, I knew they were bad, but I didn't realize the Broncos were 2-5.
Yeah, they have 2 wins on the season. Though this is
like 3 or 4.
This is the London game. We can pick it. Broncos. Russell Wilson probably not playing against the Jaguars, who haven't.
Did you see that?
What?
About Russell Wilson doing high knees down the aisle on the airplane?
Bro,
said he was up exercising the whole flight to London, doing high knees down the aisle while the rest of the players were asleep.
He's such a cornball, bro. He's such a
bro. Imagine being an NFL player. You're on a flight to London and you wake up and your quarterback is doing high knees down the aisle of the airplane.
Bro, I'm starting to dislike Russell Wilson a little bit, just a little bit. But yeah, the Broncos are 2-5, well under expectations for this season. The Jaguars haven't won since they beat the Chargers.
The Jaguars looked really good to start the season.
Yeah, and they've been pretty bad since then. They just traded James Robinson, which I like for them to give Travis Etienne more touches because he's been pretty good this season. I don't know who to pick here. I don't know who to pick here. If Russell Wilson doesn't play, I'm gonna go.
Who's the Broncos backup?
I think it's Brett Ripon. I think so.
Okay.
Brett Ripon.
I'm gonna go Jaguars if Russ doesn't play.
If Russ doesn't play, I'm gonna go with the Jaguars. If Russ does play, they're on a 4-game losing streak, bro. I'm gonna go. Go ahead,
dude. If they lose this game, they're blowing it up completely. That's like wild to me.
I don't think you can. They gave up so much for Russell Wilson.
No, they said if they lose this game, they're trading. Jeez, I just blanked.
I don't think you can blow it up this year because you're out.
The linebacker. Oh crap, I blanked. Hold on.
Bradley Chubb.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Broncos are gonna do. The trade deadline is in like 6 days, 7 days.
Word has it Jerry Judy's available too.
I hope the Titans get him. I would love the Titans to snag him.
Somebody said the Dolphins might be interested. Like imagine, just that's just what they need. Just imagine that's
the whole Tua, Waddle, and Judy thing. That would be kind of
cool. Nobody is covering Tyreek Hill, Jerry Judy, and Jalen Waddle.
Yeah,
no defense in the league.
I hope the Titans make a play for him because I would like Jerry Judy on the team. At least any type of competent receiver on the team, to be fair. But we're getting off track. I'm going to pick the Jaguars if Russ doesn't play. If Russ does play, I'm not confident, but I will probably pick the Broncos. But this is the London game. It's on ESPN Plus. For why, I'm not sure.
Wow.
Dolphins, Lions.
I can't say that I've ever seen an NFL game on ESPN Plus.
I don't think there has been. Outside of Monday, I don't think there has been. Lions, Dolphins. The Dolphins won an ugly game on Sunday night. The Lions haven't won a game since week 2. The Lions are coming back down to earth. Their offense hasn't been as great as, the great 3 weeks of offense that they had to start the season. I'm going to go with the Dolphins. This is in Detroit, but I'm still going to go with the Dolphins. Yeah. I'm going with the Dolphins.
I'm going Dolphins.
Bears, Cowboys.
The only chance the Lions have is if DeAndre Swift comes back, I think. So
yeah. Bears, Cowboys. Dak didn't look too great last week. He looked kind of The Bears are coming off a really good win Monday night. It looked like Bailey Zappi was going to take over the game, which he did for a little bit. But the Bears, defense really woke up and won them that game. I don't know if you saw this, but the one screen pass where Justin Fields threw it like that.
I didn't see any of the game. I was at the Grizzlies game. I didn't see any of the game.
Well, there was a play where Justin Fields threw a screen pass, and he got walloped after the pass. Like he got sandwiched, and they didn't call roughing the passer, and that was a pretty controversial thing on Twitter where the refs only selectively want to call roughing the passer on better quarterbacks.
Certain quarterbacks.
Yeah. Because I that is fair because I guarantee you if that happened to Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, they're calling that immediately.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That is something weird to think about. But I'm gonna go with the Cowboys in this game. The Cowboys defense has been.
Well, they did call that. They did call that one on Derek Carr, so I guess they're trying to level it out.
Yeah, and they the refs this season have been very, very bad. I'm going to go with the Cowboys in this game at home. The Cowboys defense has been really, really, really good. They kept them afloat when Cooper Rush was out, or when Dak was out and Cooper Rush was in. And Michael Parsons has been playing out of his mind this season. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys to win this game. The Bears offense isn't very reliable. The reason they scored 33 points last week Monday was because, their defense was making plays. So I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Dallas Cowboys defense is better. I'm going to keep the offense in check, and I think the offense is very good. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys to beat the Bears.
Yeah, I'm going to go Cowboys as well.
Cardinals, Vikings. The Vikings coming off a bye. They are 5-1. The Cardinals are coming off a pretty good win last week against the Saints. They had back-to-back pick sixes. That was a pretty wild game. Minnesota's favored by 3.5 at home. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals in this game. I think the Cardinals. I've kind of found their footing. You were gonna pick the Cardinals?
Yes, bro.
Dude, great minds think alike. It's crazy. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals in this game. I think the Cardinals have kind of found their footing. Their offense is still kind of iffy.
Getting one of the best receivers in the league back definitely helps.
Yeah, it definitely does. I think that the offense is still kind of iffy. They're obviously more comfortable after a week of having DeAndre Hopkins back. So I think they found their footing, and I think they'll get back to 500 with a win this week against the Vikings on the road. Raiders, Saints. Josh Jacobs has been playing out of his mind this season. The Raiders are coming off a win. The Saints look pretty bad. I'm gonna go.
This all depends. This all depends on if Jarvis Landry, Michael Thomas, and Jameis Winston play.
They're probably all gonna be out again. If I had to bet,
that's great for me. I have Chris Olave.
I have him in one of my leagues too. The Saints have been they've been bad. They've been bad. The Raiders. I'm gonna go with the Raiders in this game, just because they've been more reliable. Like they
this
haven't
is so lame.
been
this
reliable.
Is so lame. I'm going Raiders.
Now this game, Patriots-Jets. I want to have you pick first. I want to see what you think about this game.
We skip it. I don't want to talk about the Jets. I have Brees Hall.
I did too. I had Brees Hall in my league, and I got so mad, bro. I started my fantasy season with Javonte Williams. He tore his ACL. Then I picked up Brees Hall.
Bro,
he was a steal, and then he hurt his ACL.
I was so high on Brees Hall at the draft, and I got him, and I was like, and then the other day I was like, bro, he was my best player, like literally my best player, just tore his ACL. Anyway, back to the game. I wonder who's going to play quarterback for the Patriots.
They just announced Max Jones was going to be the starter.
That's stupid. Anyway, I don't know. I'm probably going to go Patriots.
Patriots on the road.
Even though I just said that was stupid.
Patriots are favored by 2.5. I'm gonna go with the New York Jets in this game. The Jets have been they've been good somehow. They've been pulling out games, man. They're 5-2. They're only a game behind the Bills.
Yeah,
the Bills probably won't give that up.
I don't know if James Robinson. I don't think he's going to be able to play that play the Brees Hall role.
No, Michael Carter will take up that Brees Hall role. Michael Carter and Brees Hall were very similar players, and Michael Carter was playing that Brees Hall role last year anyway. So I think Michael Carter would just be a plug and play for that offense. Whether he'll have the same production as Brees Hall or not is, up in question. But Michael Carter will probably step in and play that role. I'm gonna go with the Jets. The Jets just pull out games somehow, even though they're not.
Yeah,
they don't.
I can see it. I can definitely see it. But I'm gonna take the Patriots.
Yeah, but the Jets lost a lot of players last week. They lost Brees Hall for the season, and they lost Elijah Vera Tucker last week for the season. So the Jets have been injury riddled, but they've been pulling games out somehow. The Battle of Pennsylvania.
And Elijah Moore wants out.
Yeah, and Elijah Moore doesn't want to be there. This was like the Jets are like the Jets are. I don't know what to call the Jets right now. The Battle of Pennsylvania. The Steelers on the road in Philly to play the Eagles. The Eagles are favored by 11. The Eagles just traded for Robert Quinn, like we touched on. Philly's good, man. Philly's really good. They're not the best team in the NFL, in my opinion, but they're really, really good. They're way better than the Steelers right now. So I'm going to go with Philly.
Yeah, I got to go Eagles.
Titans, Texans. Titans, 4-game win streak. They're only favored by 2 on the road. Tannehill is hurt. I'm not sure if he'll play. we might sit him out this game. I could see it, since we are playing the Texans. But I'm gonna go with the Titans. The Titans are on a 4-game win streak. We're looking good. We're not looking good, but we're winning games. If that makes any sense. We'll probably beat the Texans.
We always struggle at Houston for some reason, but yeah, I'm gonna go Titans.
Commanders Colts now.
Why is it that all of our sports teams struggle in the city of Houston? Like bad.
I'm not sure, man.
Because like the Grizzlies always struggle at the Rockets. The Tigers always struggle at Houston.
I don't know, man. Commanders Colts. The Matt Ryan situation is very perplexing. I'm not really sure what to make of it. The Colts are starting Sam Ehlinger for the rest of the season.
Yeah, they said Matt Ryan's arm is shot.
Like, this because he threw 60 times at age 36 the other week. The Commanders are on a little win streak here. And the Colts are without Matt Ryan. I'm gonna go with the Commanders in this game. On the road, Sam Ehlinger. Are you gonna pick the Commanders too? That's funny. No. I'm gonna change my mind. I'm gonna pick the Colts at home. The Colts are still in my.
You gotta change your mind because we've had the same pick.
No, I do think probably the Colts will win. The Colts are not great, but the Colts are better than the Commanders. They still have Jonathan Taylor. They still have their whole offense except for Matt Ryan, which whether that is a big blow or not, we will see. But I will take the Colts at home.
I'll take the Commanders.
Rams 49ers. This might be the biggest mid-off of the season. 49ers are 3-4. Rams are 3-3 coming off a bye. The 49ers rather, are favored by 1.5 in this game on the road. The 49ers just traded for Christian McCaffrey. He got limited snaps last week, but in those snaps he did look pretty good. Deebo Samuel's out for this game. George Kittle was pretty good last week. The Rams are a big mess right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the 49ers.
I will take the 49ers as well. Giants Seahawks, the battle of unexpected winning teams. Geno Smith is leading
just as we imagined. This is like
we both expected the Giants and the Seahawks to both have winning records facing each other.
Hold on, time out. Hold on. This is the only game this week between two teams with a winning record. Just as we expected, the Giants and the Seahawks in Week 8 would be the only game. But
the Giants and the Seahawks. The Seahawks have been good. They've been good. They beat the Chargers by 2 scores. Albeit the injury-riddled Chargers by 2 scores. They beat the Cardinals by 2 scores. They only lost to the Saints by a score. They only lost to the Falcons by 1 score. This team is like 10 points away from being 6-1. The Seattle Seahawks, the team I expected to be the worst team in the entire NFL at the beginning of the season, which is wild to say out loud. So I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. The Giants being 6-1 is crazy to me. Daniel Jones hasn't been completely horrible. The Giants defense has been pretty good under Wink Martindale. The Brian Daboll right now is far and away the coach of the year, if it's not Sean McDermott or Sirianni for the Eagles. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks though. The Seahawks are looking pretty decent. So I'm gonna go with the Seahawks at home.
Yeah, I'm going Seahawks.
Bro. This is a pretty decent Sunday night game. The Packers are favored, or the Bills are favored rather over the Packers
I was finna say, bro. Hold on now.
11.5. Bills are coming off a bye. The Packers are coming off a loss in Washington.
Bro, if I was Aaron Rodgers, I would be calling every receiver in the NFL.
I'm surprised the Packers haven't done anything about that receiver room yet.
They have to go get Elijah Moore or
Somebody.
I don't know if they can. Can they go get Judy? Can they do that? Like,
Probably.
do they have the assets for that?
I don't know. I would probably take maybe a third or second. But I don't know. Maybe not. If the Broncos want to get rid of him that bad. I'm going to go with the Bills in this game. It's really not a hard choice. The Packers still are a good team, whether they are 3-4 record or not. I still think the Packers are a good team. But I still am going to go with the Bills. The Bills are the best team in football. I got to go Bills. The Monday night game. The Bengals on the road to take on the Browns. The Browns are 2-5 at the moment. They looked kind of decent to start the season. But they are on a 4-game skid. 3 of those being super, super close games. And the Bengals are looking. They got their feet back under them.
Battle of Ohio.
Yeah, the Bengals are looking really good again. I'm gonna go with the Bengals. The Bengals. I think the Bengals will cover the -3. I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm going Bengals.
I think we disagreed on maybe 2 the entire thing. It's boring.
That's so boring.
Tis, but the moment y'all been waiting for at 50 minutes, we didn't expect the pick'ems to take that long. But predicting the first college football playoff top 25, which is Tuesday, I think. A lot of this hinders on the games this week, but these are just what our predictions will be. Do you want to start from the bottom or do you want to start from the top?
Up to you.
I think we should start from the bottom. Because I kind of want to touch on the teams at the top. Who's your 25th team in your poll?
25th, I have Liberty.
Ooh, Liberty. You ranked Liberty.
Yeah, I think Liberty has looked solid, especially beating BYU 41-14 last week. Mm-hmm. Caught me off guard. Hugh Freeze has them looking right. They have a bye week this week, and then they'll turn around and play Arkansas next week. So, yeah, I got Liberty right there.
This is where I have Texas. Texas is coming off a loss. It is a close game against Oklahoma State. But Texas, hold on, let me look at this. Texas is like 5 points away from being 6-1. Texas has kept it close in every loss that they've had. They are a 4-3 team, but they are still good enough and worthy, in my eyes, to be a ranked team, especially in a college football playoff ranking. I think they'll be number 25. Number 24 is where I have South Carolina. I do agree with the AP poll and thinking that South Carolina should be ranked.
We agree on that one.
Yeah, South Carolina has been looking good.
Beating Missouri won't move them up much.
No, it'll keep them there depending on how they. Depending on like
it
how
won't take them down, but
it could.
I thought they were 23. My fault.
It could, depending on how they play Missouri, because Missouri isn't that good. But South Carolina, not much to say. They've been pretty decent. They were ranked at 24. We both have South Carolina here. At number 23 is where I have Tulane. Tulane has looked really, really, really good. I think they're probably tied with Cincinnati for me for the second best team in the AAC. Because I did say that I think UCF is the best overall team in that conference. Yeah, this is where I have Tulane. Not much to say. They're 7-1 in the American.
Yeah, my 23, I have Kentucky.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Tennessee's going to beat them pretty bad, and they're going to drop.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they're 19 right now.
23 though? Wow.
That's only like 4 spots.
But still, that's 23 for a 2-loss SEC team is wild. Wild.
I got Kentucky there.
I have them a little higher.
Just because I think Tennessee's going to beat the brakes off of them. Honestly,
Yeah, that is
or not the brakes.
That is fair, but
I think Tennessee's going to beat them by at least 2 touchdowns.
Number 22, who do you have at your 22 spot?
UCF.
UCF, all the way up at 22.
UCF, I think they'll beat Cincinnati, and they'll get that 22 spot.
This is where I have Washington. Washington, kind of disappointing. They lost to a pretty bad team. I don't remember what team they lost to. But this is where I have Washington. Washington has looked pretty good in recent weeks. They lost to Arizona State and UCLA back-to-back, but they've beat California and they beat Arizona, albeit not great wins as far as score margin. But, they've bounced back. Michael Penix has been amazing. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the country this season. So Washington is where I have at 22. Yeah.
Yeah. I have UCF there. 21, I have NC State. I think, like I said, they won't miss Leary this week, I don't think. Well, they probably will miss him, but I think they win still. So I've got them moving up to 21 this week.
I don't have them ranked. I think the playoff committee takes in consideration that they don't have Leary and won't respect that team to do anything. So I think they'll take them out. Just as I did. This is where I have Cincinnati at 21. I don't think they'll necessarily, get blown out by UCF, but I do think the committee will still respect them, even with 2 losses. This is where I have Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Number
20?
Yeah, number 20 is where I have K-State, Kansas State. Kansas State is still going to be pretty good. I think the committee favors a 3. They would be a 2-loss.
See, I dropped them out.
What would they be? A 3-loss?
I think.
They're coming off a loss. I mean, it depends on how they lose that game. If they get killed, which I probably expect they might, they probably drop them out. But a decent 3-loss Big 12 team, I think the committee in recent years has favored over 1-loss Group of 5 teams. So this is where I have K-State.
Yeah, I have Texas here.
All the way at 20.
Yeah, I think the committee's really going to consider that Alabama game. I think it's going to be
even
they're going to look at it and say, well, they played Alabama and they lost by 1, or what was it, 1? Yeah.
Yeah, they lost by 1.
And then they had like 3 or 4 games without Quinn Ewers. So I think that they lost a couple, or they lose.
They lost to Oklahoma State and Texas
yeah.
Tech.
Yeah. They lost 2 games, or 3 games. They lost 3 games without Ewers.
And they beat the brakes off of Oklahoma.
Right. Which we really don't know what that means yet, but
Oklahoma's I got them there. I think decent lately.
I think the committee's going to respect that Alabama and that Quinn Ewers is back, so I got him at 20.
At 19, this is where I have UNC. I did predict them to lose. But this is before, I made this before, we did pick'ems. UNC at 19, I think the committee, even with a 2, they're a 1 loss right now, I think even with them being a 2-loss, they'll respect them a little bit. It may not be as high as 19. But UNC, they're a very one-dimensional team, very offensive heavy, not very good on defensive end. I just think USC will be still ranked, even if they do lose, like I predicted them to. Who do you have?
Yeah, at 19 I have Tulane.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think they what are they right now? 23. Yeah, I think they'll move up a couple spots because a couple teams above them lose.
Right. 18. Who you have at 18?
North Carolina. So pretty much right where you got them. But I had them winning, so
Not much to say about North Carolina. I have Illinois right here. I I don't know. I think Illinois is
Ill-
very
Illinois is my 17.
right. Um, Illinois is very like I don't want to say one dimensional, but they rely heavily on the run game, and they have a top 3 defense in the entire nation. It's weird seeing Illinois good at football, to be honest. But Illinois has been great. They're gonna probably lose some games. They're definitely gonna lose some games at the end of the season. But right now, I think 18 is a good spot for them.
Yeah, I got them at 17.
At 17, this is where I have Kentucky. Again, a 3-loss SEC team who's beaten a ranked team already this season. I think will be respected over a few of these teams that I have right here. Kentucky has a better track record. They didn't lose that. Like they lost by only a few points to Ole Miss, and their only other loss came without their best player. And again, they're probably going to lose bad to Tennessee, but I think the committee will respect Kentucky a little bit, and not drop them down too low. So that's why I have them at 17. At 16, this is where I have LSU.
He dropped out of mine. Not gonna lie.
Who did they play this week? I already forgot. Who did they
They play Alabama. They play Alabama. Oh, who did they play? Who did they
or
play?
they play Alabama this week?
It's a Death Valley night game. I'm not sure to matter.
They played Alabama close last year, but this was last year and that was a completely different LSU team. But I don't know. Alabama LSU games are always weird.
Well, they don't play Alabama this week. They play next week. Both Alabama and LSU are both on a bye this week.
Oh yeah.
My bad. I forgot.
Yeah, I have LSU at 16. It was a pretty impressive win to beat Ole Miss.
Which I shouldn't have dropped them out because when I made these, I did think they played this week.
Yeah.
Anyway, it'd be okay.
I just realized I didn't have Ole Miss in my rankings. They're not in here.
You did the same thing I did.
Ole Miss dropped out.
So you could. So, what is LSU ranked right now?
16 for me. Or are you talking about the real one? 18.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah,
I literally I just forgot.
They'll probably be in there somewhere. I just forgot they played next week.
Yeah, I didn't even have Ole Miss in here on accident. I would probably replace them with Washington and just move Ole Miss like above probably 13, 14. Maybe a little higher, maybe.
Yeah.
But
where are we at? 16?
Yes.
I have Penn State here. I got them dropping 3 spots after losing to Ohio State. Presumably, I think they'll lose to Ohio State. So I think they'll drop 2 or 3 spots, and I got them at 16.
Who do you have at 15?
15, I have Ole Miss.
See, I would put probably Ole Miss at like 13 or 14. I guess I have to drop every team now below them. I would probably drop, yeah. Do this. Okay, it does that on itself. I'm going to drop Texas out. And just drop every team down and put Ole Miss at 13. So yeah, what are we on? 15? 16? We're on 16, 15?
Yes.
I'm not sure. What are we on?
Did you give your 15?
No. We're on 15. Okay, this is where I have Wake Forest. Wake Forest might struggle against I already forgot who they played, but I do think Louisville on the road at Louisville, they might struggle against them. And yeah, the committee last year didn't really respect Ole Miss or Wake Forest. Them being 8-0 and they're like outside the top 10. So I think they keep that same energy this season and keep Wake Forest at 15. At 14, this is where I have Penn State. I don't think they'll drop too much. They're at 13 right now. I don't think the committee will weigh them losing to Ohio State too much unless they get like completely killed. So yeah, 2-loss Penn State. I don't think will drop too much.
Yeah, 14. I have Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
Just coming up a couple spots.
I had Syracuse at 16. I don't think I ever gave my 16. Yeah, at 16,
Yeah,
I had.
I think they'll beat Notre Dame, move up a couple spots because the team, like I said, teams above them lost.
Yeah,
Which I mean, it really don't matter, and just because it's playoff rankings and not AP rankings, but they kind of do reflect a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just a little bit. But yeah, I said I meant to say Syracuse was my 16. Then I have Wake Forest at 15. This is where I have Penn State is at 14. 13, I said this is where I would put Ole Miss. I forgot to put them in there, and this is where I put them. Ole Miss. Ole Miss has been very, very questionable. I do think they bounce back with a win this week, and they move up a few spots. Who do you have at 13? Did you already say your 13?
My 13 is Utah.
Utah at 13. All right. Not much to say there. At 12, this is where I have USC. USC.
Okay, that's interesting.
In my mind, is you could argue that the fourth best team in the Pac-12. And we were saying they were the best to start the season, but other teams have shown, that they are better than what what they were expected to be. And USC has kind of been disappointing as of late. They are 6-1 at ranked 10 in the AP poll right now, tied for 10. But they have been kind of disappointing. So I have them at 12. 12 is not bad in the grand scheme of things, but how they started, they've went up to 6. I think as high as 6. They've been kind of shaky lately, so I have them at 12.
What was it? 12. I have Wake Forest.
Yeah, Wake Forest is pretty decent.
Yeah, I got Wake Forest at 12.
At 11. Who do you have at 11?
UCLA. Yeah, I think Chip Kelly's got them right. Hold on. See if I can't. There we go. Yeah, Chip Kelly's got them right. Yeah, they're a good football team. They have a win over Utah. That'll help. So yeah, I got UCLA at 11.
This is where I have Utah. I couldn't feel comfortable putting them over or under USC, although they do have more losses. They beat them, and I do think they have been better. So I have them over USC. I'm not sure if the committee would ever do that. That's just the way I would do it. I think they're better, and they've beat them. So I can't really. Again, it's only one spot, but I couldn't feel comfortable not putting them over USC at the moment. So this is where I have Utah. Utah has bounced back ever since losing to UCLA and Florida to start the season. They've been looking pretty decent. So that's where I have Utah at 11. At 10, I have UCLA here. Do you think, or I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think,
this is what you asked me earlier?
that was a question about TCU.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to ask you this here. Who do you think is the best team in the Pac-12 at the moment?
At the moment. It's tough. I'd say Oregon right now.
I think you have to say Oregon. because they've beat UCLA. But UCLA, I still think UCLA is really good, man.
They are. I just think Oregon's the best team in the Pac-12.
I wouldn't be mad at you if you said UCLA was the best team in the Pac-12. They do have the best overall defense and a top 3 offense in that conference. But UCLA is really good. I think you could argue that both of those teams are 1A and 1B. You could argue Oregon's the best. You could argue UCLA is the best. I think you can make a case for both teams, but I do think you have to say Oregon right now. Who did you have at 10? Did you already say your 10?
I have USC at 10, just the same as what they are in the AP.
At 9, like you just said with USC, is where I have Oklahoma State.
That's who I got there too, same as the AP.
Coming off a win against a ranked Texas.
I just don't think they can move up. They might can slide to 8, but I just don't think they can move up.
Yeah, like
much.
I think their ceiling right now is probably 8. Yeah. Oregon is who I have at 8. Again, it's the same as the AP. The top 10 won't look much different. Like we said,
mine does, but
the top end, like the top 10, 8 to 10 teams are kind of consensus as far as an 8, like a playoff poll goes. Like it's really the bottom, like 12 through 25 is where it really gets kind of different.
You ready for this?
Yeah, I have Oregon at 8.
At 8, I have Clemson.
I have Clemson at 7, so I've dropped them down a little bit too.
I think having a bye week this week will hurt them in the poll.
I think in the poll it'll hurt them, but I think for the team they kind of do need a little week to kind of calm down.
I was talking about because teams are going to win and move above them. I think so. I have them at 8, and they're with their 5 now, so they drop on 3 spots. But yeah, I got them at 8. They've been shaky, and there's a couple games they should have lost. Probably, you could say. So,
do you think Clemson goes undefeated, or do you think they're bound to lose a game this season?
Let me look at their schedule.
I'll pull it up. They have Notre Dame.
Right here.
They have Notre Dame next week, and they have South Carolina at the end of the year, and they also have Louisville and Miami in between that.
I think they'll beat Louisville and Miami because they're home games. I'm looking at it. I could see them slipping up and losing to Notre Dame or South Carolina, though.
Could.
I could.
I think looking at that team.
I think if you're them, you'd rather lose to Notre Dame.
Yeah,
maybe.
Get that loss to Notre Dame out of the way than going 11-0.
Because
and
if you lose
your season,
if you lose in South Carolina at the end of the year,
they will. I get that's an SEC opponent. They will if they go 11-0 and stay undefeated in conference. They'll
make the conference championship.
Yeah, that is an SEC opponent that won't really affect them as far as like conference championship wise.
Well, Notre Dame's not a conference opponent either. So
yeah, but if you want to lose a game, you would want to lose that Notre Dame game.
Yeah, I think so.
And not either of those conference games in between either. If you want to lose a game and get that loss out of the way, I
don't see a world as bad as they are, or not as bad, but like as horrific as that offense can be. I don't see them losing to Miami or Louisville.
Yeah, Miami has been pretty horrific. Mario Cristobal is again, it's his first year. He's growing pains will happen, but man, the way they started versus the way they've been is kind of rough. So yeah, I think if you're Clemson, you obviously don't want to lose a game at all. But
so you got Clemson at 7. I got Oregon at 7. I mean,
yeah, just flip spots. At 6, this is where I have TCU.
Me too.
They're the second for they're part of the first 2 out. Okay, this is a question.
TCU's good.
This is a question I have.
I think TCU can go undefeated. I really do.
Do you think they have a path to the playoff?
If they go undefeated, they have to, right?
13-0 Big 12 champion TCU. Do you think that's a playoff team? If Ohio State goes undefeated, if Alabama wins out, if Georgia, goes 12-1 or something. If Michigan goes 12-1.
Yes, I think they do
Oregon or UCLA could win out.
Yeah, I think they do.
There's a world where
like,
Clemson goes 13-0.
There is. I think they do. I think they if they go undefeated, they definitely do. I think.
I do think TCU could probably. I mean, the Big 12 is very weird. I do think it's very possible for them to lose a game this season, just because it is the Big 12. But I do think TCU does have a path to the playoff if they keep scoring as many points and getting as many yards that they have been and still winning. I do think they could, sneak into the playoff. It would probably be at 4. Kind of like a Washington 2016 type of deal. But I think TCU does have a path to the playoff. It's very slim, but I do think they could make it. At number 5, who do you have here?
I have Alabama.
This is where I have Alabama too.
Yeah, this is probably not going to happen because we know how the committee gets with Alabama. But the 4 teams ahead of them are better.
You think Alabama
have the better? Not bad. They're not. I'm not going to say they're better, but they have the better resume as of right now.
You think Alabama wins out?
Yeah, probably.
They're not losing to Auburn. I don't know who else they play. They play LSU. That could be a dicey game just because it is Alabama LSU.
Well, they have Ole Miss left, but they should. That'd probably be a shootout.
I am on record of saying if there were, I said at the beginning of the season there were 2 teams that I think that could beat Alabama. And that was A&M and Ole Miss. I do probably think Ole Miss could have a shot against Alabama. I don't think it'll be an absolute blowout, but
I don't know. 5-2 Austin Peay might get them.
Watch out, Austin Peay. Yeah, Ole Miss. I do think I still think that hold to be true. That we'll have to see how they bounce back after that loss against LSU. That is weird. Yeah. It's very weird to evaluate Ole Miss now that they've lost that game.
Alabama's got a tough. I mean, they go to Death Valley at night this week. That place will be rocking with Alabama in town. And then they go to Oxford. Not this week. Next week they go to Death Valley, and then they go to Oxford the next week.
Dude, all of their tough games this season have been on the road. They were at Texas. They were at Tennessee. They're going to be at Ole Miss, and they're going to be at LSU.
Yeah, you cannot say the Alabama plays cupcake schedule. You cannot say that this year.
Not this year at all. Every road test, Texas, they showed that they were a worthy opponent. They obviously lost to Tennessee. Ole Miss, again, it's hard to evaluate Ole Miss right now. But I don't think Ole Miss will lay down, especially with Lane Kiffin, a head coach. LSU, it's an Alabama LSU game.
Get your popcorn ready.
The last time they played at Death Valley was what? Was that 2020? I'm not sure. Yeah. But it is an Alabama LSU game. Those games are always weird. And it is a night game at Death Valley. Who knows how that game will turn out. But yeah, Alabama does not have a cupcake schedule this year. They've got it rough. But I do have Alabama at 5. I think they could win out. I like Alabama over Georgia right now. It's just with, the loss. You can't really you can't put Alabama over Georgia right now. But I do think Alabama is better than Georgia at the moment. I do think they could beat them in the SEC championship if they do meet there. But yeah, this is where I have Alabama. Who do you have at 4?
I have Michigan at 4.
This is where I have Tennessee. I still think I really like Michigan right now. I think Michigan is really, really good. I think you could argue Michigan is a little bit better than Georgia at the moment. I could see it. I could see that being an argument. I'm really high on Michigan right now. Although I do have them at 3, just one spot above. But I do have Tennessee right here at 4. They're still in the playoffs at the moment. But man, the next couple of weeks for Tennessee are big, 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 big. I do think they will beat Kentucky, pretty handily. But they have Georgia coming up, and I could see a world where Tennessee wins that game.
I definitely could. They have the way better offense.
They do.
They have a way better offense.
But Georgia's defense is not a slouch at all. Georgia's defense is really, really, really good. So yeah, if Tennessee, I can see a world where Tennessee goes 12-0. But do you think Tennessee can beat Alabama again in the SEC championship?
Well, the SEC. Here's the thing about that: the SEC championship won't be at Neyland Stadium.
It'll be in Atlanta.
Exactly, and that'll be pretty much a home game for Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama has a really good track record in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, and Alabama fans already have their tickets to the SEC championship. I mean,
I think there's a possibility that Tennessee does go 12-0. There is also a possibility they go 11-1, but that would mean they don't make the SEC championship because therefore Georgia would probably go 11-1 or 12-0 and make that. But there's a possibility that they go 12-0. But I can't see them beating Alabama again. It's just Nick Saban doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's just the last time we've seen Nick Saban lose 2 games in a season.
But this could be crazy though, because if Tennessee beats Georgia,
they're probably the number 1 team.
Even if Tennessee loses to Georgia, can three SEC teams get in the playoff? Is it possible? If you have SEC champion Alabama, SEC runner-up Georgia, and 1-loss Tennessee to Georgia that beat Alabama,
they would need other teams to lose.
Yeah, they would definitely need some help, but it would be crazy if it happened.
That would be pretty wild. Yeah, I do think there's a possibility that Tennessee does make the playoff, but I don't think they can beat Alabama in the SEC championship again.
Yeah, I don't.
Number 3 is where I have Michigan. I think you could argue Michigan could be number 2, and you could slide Georgia up here at 3. But Michigan, in my eyes, is at least top 3 team in the nation. They're really, really good. They have one of the best defenses in the country, and they have one of the best offenses in the country thanks to Blake Corum and that running attack. Michigan is looking really, 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 really good. That game against Ohio State at the end of the year.
At 3, I have Ohio State.
Really?
It was tough. It was really tough.
So you have Tennessee. You have Tennessee at 2.
I have Tennessee at 1.
You have Tennessee as the number 1 team in the country. Oh my!
Tennessee has the best. Nobody, people watching this are going to say Jackson Huey. Did I just say that?
I don't think I've ever heard you say that in my life.
But I didn't ever want to. But Tennessee has the best resume in the country at the moment, I think. Where they have 3 or 4 top 25 wins.
Yeah.
Man, they beat Alabama.
Me personally, I wouldn't be comfortable putting them at 1 with the way Michigan.
I mean, I'm not.
And Ohio State have played.
I went back and forth with Tennessee and Georgia for 1 and 2.
Until I see Tennessee beat Georgia, I can't put them at 1. It's just because I think Michigan and Ohio State are better.
I think they got the best resume in college football, and that matters to the committee. The resumes matters to the committee.
It really does. Number 2 is where I have Georgia, and I have Ohio State at 1. I think right now Ohio State.
Josh is gonna slander me for that, by the way. Both Joshes that I know.
Yeah, I have Ohio State at 1. I personally think they're the best team in the country at the moment.
So Georgia's my 2, by the way.
Yeah, we both have Georgia at 2. We just you have Tennessee at 1. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. I do, I
Little
do, I do,
curveball
I
for
do
you.
understand. Kinda, they do have the best resume as far as ranked wins go. They have the win over Alabama, and after next week, they most likely will have another ranked win over Kentucky. Um, it's just at one, man. It's hard to put them over Georgia and Ohio State at the moment. I just can't put them over Georgia until I see them beat them. Is what
This
to me.
this Saturday, if they beat Kentucky, will be their 5th ranked win of the season.
Out of what 8 or 9 wins?
Out of 8 wins, it'll be their 5th ranked win.
That's wild. That is wild.
That's a resume. That is a resume right there.
It is. It is. But me personally, until I see Tennessee beat Georgia, I can't put them over Georgia at the moment.
I understand, but I just think that Tennessee's offense is so good. But yes, Georgia's defense is good, but Georgia's offense is shaky.
I
just think they have the best resume, and they might have the best offense in the country.
that's Ohio State right now, in my personal opinion. I think Ohio.
Yeah,
I think Ohio State is kind of. I think Ohio State is kind of slept on right now. Ohio State is extremely.
I'm not saying I
extremely
think
good.
they're the best offense in the country, but you could argue it.
You definitely could. They're definitely top 3 at least. At least top 3. But I think Ohio State is the best offense and overall the best team in the country at the moment. That's why I have them at 1. Yeah, that was fun, man. Again, it's probably going to look vastly different because there will be a couple teams that lose this week. This is where we have it at the moment. Obviously, we are not taking our predictions seriously because we don't have the best track record with predictions on this channel. But yeah, those were our college football playoff rankings for the first rankings this season. For next week, I think they come out on Tuesday, so they will be out before our next pod. So we will get to talk about that, which will be fun. That is going to be the end of this episode. We appreciate you guys joining the live. We really do appreciate you guys watching and listening. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe and turn the notifications on. Follow us on Spotify, follow us on Apple Podcasts, follow us wherever you guys get your podcasts, and we appreciate you guys' support, and we appreciate you guys listening. We'll see you guys next week.